So you want to go camping? All right. Well, what vehicle should we take? We got the motorcycle here. That's great for one person. And we got the camper trailer here. That's great for the whole family. So what kind of adventure are we thinking about having? Motorcycle? Great choice. So what gear should we bring? So I've prepared some gear for your upcoming trip. It's the first week of fall, it's raining all week, and about 55 degrees. I think you'll be fine with the 25-degree sleeping bag. I've got a backpacker's tent for a family of 4. It's more than you need, but you'll be thankful for the room later. I've got a cargo net just in case something goes wrong. I've got some rock straps to keep everything tight on the back of the bike, and a backpacker's pillow. This way you don't have to sleep on the rocks because that's terrible. I've got a sleeping pad. It's rated at R5, keeps things very comfortable at night. And spare tubes, an assortment of tools because you always have the wrong tool in the end. Leatherman, of course, because that's about as handy as it gets. Separate options for inflating your tires. I've got air cartridges, a bike pump, and of course tire gauges. Med kit and tire changing tools. So I've acquired an assortment of items for your camping trip. This is where things get complicated. For starters, what are we going to cook with? We've got a jet boil here. Works great until you run out of fuel, then it's useless. I've got a BioLite. This burns sticks and twigs. It also charges your cell phone. The only problem is if it's too wet to burn, or if it's the middle of fire season, you can't use it. I've got a Dutch oven, and this is absolutely completely useless if you happen to be motor camping since it weighs a ton. But what are we going to drink out of? We got to have water, right? So I've got a canteen. I prefer this because it tastes better to drink out of. It also keeps your drink a lot cooler, but the only problem is you don't want to fall on this, so don't keep it in your backpack. Put it in your panniers, it's a little safer. The alternative, though, is the classic bladder. Tastes awful, but it's soft, so you can land on it. Coffee-wise, though, most important meal of the day for me. I've got a single-use espresso maker, or single-use French press. Great for one. But I've got a group French press maker, because who wants to make coffee for just one person? I've also got this Italian Mocha Express here, which is great for making espresso. If you happen to have milk and can keep it safe, that's a good option. But you're on a motorcycle, so you might want to keep it light. Instant coffee mixes, blending sticks, take your pick, but that's the best way to go on a motorcycle. All you need is hot water. You may want to stay clean though, so here's a towel. I prefer looking like a caveman though, so I usually forget that. I don't have a spot radio. It's a subscription service. I'd recommend one, but I don't have it. This is what I brought to the show. I've got 2 radios. Why 2? Because you might want to talk to a tree if you're by yourself. This does help you get an extra mile or so if you need to find emergency services on Channel 9. You might just want to listen to the Weather Channel, though, to hear about upcoming thunderstorms. Or maybe you're just bored by yourself and want to listen to anybody else in the area talking on the radio. I don't know. What you do by yourself is up to you. iPhone videos. I need extra GoPro batteries. Maybe you need extra GoPro batteries, too. You should bring them if you do. You will want something to charge your cell phone with. This is good for at least 1 or 2 extra charges. If you're going longer than that, well, you're probably going to want to bring a solar panel to charge that with, or a bigger panel, bigger battery, I should say, or perhaps you actually have a USB charger on your motorcycle. I don't have one of those. Lighting, because it gets dark. I don't know if I recommend these, but that's what I brought. This is a drop light, battery powered, and this is a lantern. Both are adequate for camping. Neither one of them packs that well, but there's also headlamps that I have as well, but that's what I have to show. Maybe you get bored by yourself. Bring a game. Checkers, bocce ball, you name it. There's all kinds of things you can bring with you because camping by yourself actually is not that fun. Firewood, though. If it happens to not be firewood season, you can make a fire. A hatchet and a pruning saw are actually excellent tools to make campfire wood with. But you might see some wildlife. You're out there in the middle of nowhere, so bring some binoculars. I've had these a long time, and they're terrible. I don't recommend them, but they do work. And a compass, just in case you get lost. This one's not the best compass to use, but it is fun. And don't forget, just in case, a spyglass. Because who doesn't want to play pirate while they're camping, right? Well, first off, I just want to say thanks for watching. And I wanted to take this moment to illustrate what I was trying to accomplish in this video, or at least why I made it. And that was the way that I was kind of trying to address these questions to the camera. This is the way I asked myself when I'm going camping is where am I going? What am I bringing? What am I doing when I get there? Because the thing is like, at least in Oregon, and the Northwest in general, I should say, but we have several different distinct climates, at least four. For example, it could be 100 degrees in the middle of summer here in the valley, but over on the Oregon coast, it's 50 degrees and cold, sunny, but still cold. And so that's one example. And then you have the high alpine regions up in the mountains. You might be up there and it's, 10,000 feet up almost, and it's, it doesn't hardly get above 50, and nights are freezing. And so you're preparing for where you're going. That's what I'm trying to say. Because you'll see these videos all over YouTube, these camping videos, and what do I bring when I go camping? And the videos are great, don't get me wrong, but they usually don't cater to different audiences. It's, it's their pack, it's where they go, and so it works for them. And so an example is hammocks. A lot of people will recommend bringing a hammock with you. Forget the tent, forget the pads, just bring a hammock. And that's a great idea. But if you're going to the desert, for example, and there's no trees around, well, then what are you going to put your hammock on? You'll have to string it between two motorcycles. And that might look goofy to you, it might not, I don't know. But that's just what has to be planned for if you're bringing a hammock. And so the point is when I'm going to go camping, before every trip I ask myself, where am I going? What am I bringing? And what am I doing when I get there? And that kind of shapes every trip. And so if I'm going to a primitive campsite, a dispersed campsite, or a developed campsite, those are all three different trips in what I'm going to bring. Because the developed campsite's going to have playgrounds, it's going to have showers and things to do, and probably close to something civilized that I can take the family out. Because if I'm going to a developed campsite, the family's probably coming, and they're not going to want to be bored. Because if the kids are bored and the wife is bored, well, guess who's going to be bored? Well, you get what I'm saying at least. And so on a trip like that, I might bring bikes, I might bring ATVs, I might bring, kayaks. It just depends on what there is to do in the area. And that's what I kind of prepare for. So every trip that you go on, make sure you ask yourself those questions. Ask yourself what the weather's going to be like. Ask yourself where you're going, what you're going to do when you get there, and what you're going to bring. And then you'll have a good trip. Because rain or shine, I'll be out there camping as long as I'm prepared for it. If it happens to be July and I'm not prepared for winter and that's what happens overnight, well, that's a different story. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Well, that ought to do for the night.